Boom.
Hey, here he is.
I was desperate to start like that.
Oh, what beverage you got, mate?
You know what? As a beverage you left over from our first year anniversary podcast, which is a
Amazing.
BrewDog. We're talking about BrewDog again. Planet Pale Ale.
Ooh,
Let me just pour this bad boy.
some exciting times.
It's a Monday night and I'm having a pint. A drink. It's not a pint. It's a can.
Oh, it
I've got the
fills right
girls.
to the top of that glass, though. Oh,
That's good, isn't it?
that is good.
There's a little bit left. There's a little bit left. But I've got the girls by myself tonight, so I've tried to put them down. One out of the two is down. The other
Yeah.
one's being left to their own devices to fall asleep. So hopefully they are. But yes, I might be up and about, mate. I'll be honest. I'm going to say it now.
And I'm going to be up right now because Peggy's decided now to want to leave the room. So there you go.
Oh, what a beautiful way to start year two of Don't Be a Hero podcast, dear listener. How are you doing? What are you doing right now? You in a car? She's gone. She's gone.
She's
I was
gone.
just talking. I was just talking to dear listener. I was just talking to our dear listeners, asking them what they're doing right now. But I know we can't get an immediate response. But I do hope that you're okay, dear listener. And welcome to episode 1 of year 2. Let's say.
Woo! Here we go. And
go.
we're back to films.
We are.
That was a long
Finally.
response. That was a delayed response, there, Matt. But yeah. We're back to films. I felt like you were in I don't know, Sweden. The response there that felt like Eurovision. I thought, oh, bit of beer on it.
I got a little bit of froth there.
Oh, a little bit of froth.
Oh, was there a weird connection?
No, I think it's all right. But yes,
all
we
right.
are back to films and Phase 4, and we're at Black Widow.
Straight in. No fuss.
Straight in.
No anecdotes. Don't need that. Just cut to the chase.
Absolute, not a fun episode, just an informative episode today. There'd be absolutely no laughs, no replayability in this episode, and no factual information about us two. Just straight into the
We
movie.
just got to get straight to it. We've got to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to do our deep dive. We're going to say our things. We're going to say our gripes. And then we're going to bugger off.
and then that's it. Job bloody done.
Job done. I mean, I feel like that's how life has been for me for the last few weeks. I think that's the same with you, though, as well. We've both been very busy.
It's absolutely been ludicrous.
Carnage.
No time to breathe, mate.
No.
But immediate thoughts of Black Widow, watching it back, because you were intrigued to watch it back.
I was, and yeah, okay. So I have now understood. So I couldn't really put my finger on why I didn't like it that much the first time round. And yes, there's visual effects problems, but I think it was said in a comment, when we put a post out this week on Instagram. I think this film has all the makings to be a great Marvel MCU movie. The cast is great. I think generally the plot points are relatively strong, stronger than other Marvel movies out there. There is just one massive miss, and it is the timing of this movie. That is all I'm going to say in terms of my overall kind of opinion. I enjoyed a lot of elements. I think there was kind of saving graces, let's say, in this movie, but overall, there was a no point in putting this movie out at this point. It should have been earlier. It should have been at the place where it should have come out, because it's set just before Infinity War. Why didn't it just happen before Infinity War? I I don't understand it, and I also was really angry when it first came out that it took this long for her to get her own solo movie.
Yeah.
It should have happened ages ago. She should have been the fourth out of the three. You know, we had Iron Man, Cap, and Thor, and then it should have been Black Widow. It should have. That's how it should have gone because she was introduced way early on. She was introduced back in what, Iron Man 2?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, it's crazy that it took this long for her to get her own movie. It's criminal. It's criminal. That's what it is. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
I had, again, because the first time I watched it, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And again, I rewatched it and thoroughly enjoyed myself. I am one of the people who doesn't quite believe the dislike or hate towards this movie from some members of the fan community. I actually think what this film does an incredible job of is having its own identity, which I think is brilliant. Like, even from like the credits at the beginning, so the opening credits, it kind of gives me like noughties horror vibe. Oh, well, hello.
Do you know what I tried to do?
What?
I tried to mute myself. And I clicked it twice.
That did not work there, did it?
I was trying to be crafty.
Just ripped straight into a burp right in the mid sentence here, mate. I can't. Oh my god. That
was such a fail. That was the biggest fail of my life. That was.
A little bit.
I need to burp. I quickly put myself on mute, double clicked it, burp. Oh, honestly.
Oh, mate. I've never heard you burp so loud as that. That was a beautiful moment, that.
I know, that was the beer.
But the opening credits had a vibe of like a noughties horror movie, like an early noughties horror movie. So it kind of reminded me, I put some films down, of Saw, Hills of Eyes, and Identity, right? Which is very weird because it's absolutely not this type of film.
I'm saying yes. I don't understand that. Wait, how?
So you got to go and watch the actual credits. This is just the credits, right? Has like a very old school like font to it. Like the titles are very old school, and it kind of feels like a horror movie where you get like, I think Hills of Eyes, I vaguely remember, it's like footage of a nuclear bomb. It's like random footage and then just credits rolling on top of it. It's stuff that you wouldn't get now, right? Now you get some stylized video thing, or I don't know, just purely credits or credits whilst it's going on or whatever. Whereas, so you go back and watch it and you might know what I'm on about. But yeah, but even from before that and the whole first bit where they're going away, leaving America, it's got a really strong identity and it really like it goes away from the other Marvel films that we've watched lately. And for me, that is part of the charm of Black Widow. I like that it goes its own way. There's a lot more action. There's a lot of action scenes in it. But there's also a lot of really like heartfelt drama moments between very few members of a cast. It's not a large cast. Thoroughly enjoyed myself.
I think it does. I think you're right. I think it holds up its own tone. I think it kind of, much like, you know, each of these kind of almost like mini franchises within the MCU, like with the Guardians, with Iron Man trilogy, all of those kind of trilogies out there, they have their own tone. They have their own kind of feel to the movies, and Black Widow immediately sets its own tone, which is full of it is full of action, but it's coming from a different place, and I think it is more home based. It kind of does feel like it's a Civil War kind of like follow on, which it is. You know, I think chronologically it is, but like it does have its own tone. But I'm a bit sad. Like we just haven't had anything since that. Even now, and I know we're probably going to see a bit of this probably running through Thunderbolts. I can only imagine.
Well, I think we're gonna. It's quite heavily going to be in the Thunderbolts, isn't it? Because we're getting a new General Ross. We're getting a new, well, not new, but General Ross, Yelena. We're getting the dad. Yeah, we're getting quite a lot, so it is going to be a continuation of what is, what has been embedded and started from this. We also had Yelena in Hawkeye, obviously, to carry on
Yeah.
that thread. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think for me, like, there's some really good strengths. I have just realised, Matt, what we've done because we
Yeah.
haven't done a film for so long. Do you know what we've forgotten to do?
Oh, we've got to do a summary.
We haven't even done a summary, boy. We've not even done because we've not done a summary for so long. We've done
Oh
series
my
after
God.
series. So I've got it up. So
Come on, let's do it. Oh, yeah.
listen to this.
Oh my God.
In Marvel Studios' action-packed spy thriller, Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, confronts the darker parts of her ledger when a dangerous conspiracy with ties to her past arises. Pursued by a force that will stop at nothing to bring her down, Natasha must deal with her history as a spy and the broken relationships left in her wake long before she became an Avenger.
High stakes, mate. High stakes.
I like it. It's decent. It's nice. And also it raises another thing because you mentioned and you and many people online have mentioned about the fact that this is like out of sequence. This film is
Massively.
quite.
It's not even a little, but it's a
massively.
lot.
But then, I think it can afford to be because of the nature of the film isn't to do with the Avengers, right? It's a sidestep story, which just provides us more information about Natasha. It creates a legacy for Natasha as well. So by this point, she's dead in the real timeline. So actually, it's giving that character a legacy by introducing us to Yelena. And also, if you'd have had Hawkeye with Yelena in it, and that thread continuing, I would argue that had it have come after Civil War, by the time we got to Hawkeye, no one would remember or care.
Would have forgotten.
Quite frankly,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree with you. I think that's a fair point. But like equally, should it have been a Disney Plus series? I don't know how did that come out?
I don't think that was a sentence. To be fair,
I don't even think it was. No. But I think you knew what I meant, dear listener. Should it have been a Disney Plus series instead?
Black Widow.
Thinking about it,
no.
is there arguments for that?
I suppose there's arguments. I think again there wasn't enough in it to warrant an entire TV series. We'd be getting onto She-Hulk territory where almost nothing happens. I think if you did that,
but we probably could have got more of like the Red Guardian. I would have loved to have seen more David Harbour. I mean, his role as the Red Guardian, it's just so funny. Funny.
But you're going to introduce, it's a new character. You're there to introduce him, to see what the fan reaction is like, and then you go, right, we'll use him more. If we'd have had a series where we'd have had loads of Red Guardian, people could have been like, well, hang on a minute, isn't this Natasha's story? Isn't this following Scarlet? Yeah, isn't this supposed to be the female film or the female TV series? So yeah, I get it. I think for me the main gripe would have to be the accent of Ray Winston.
Oh, that's a good gripe. That is a good gripe. It's horrendous.
It is awful.
It's awful.
And this is where my attitude changes. I don't think the character or Ray Winston's acting is bad. I think he's good villain, right? Impressive villain.
Yeah.
That fucking accent butchers anything good about that character. He can't deliver that accent.
I think you're absolutely right, mate. I think it feels like you. Sorry, the beer. The beer is making me burpy. It was a bad choice. It's a bad choice to have at 8:45 on a Monday. What's wrong with me? I'm in a weird place right now, dear listener. I'm fine, by the way. I'm fine.
I'm
It's
fine, I'm
just,
fine, I'm fine, I'm
I'm fine.
fine. Please don't ring
Yeah.
help. Please don't.
um, I feel like Ray Winston being the kind of like I get the sense that he's like a seasoned actor. He knows what he wants. He knows what he's. I'm coming here to do a job, much like you, Forrest. More like a voice like you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You've got
yeah.
yeah. But he came in, and I know you wouldn't do this. You'd have a conscientious, actor-centric choice on the accent, and you would brutally interrogate the accent and the dialect with a dialect coach. I feel like he just made a choice and went, yeah, I'll go with that. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's and he stuck with it. It maybe came through the like he just sort of saw him back in the edits and the shots and went, oh god, oh I've got to keep with that now.
Yeah, yeah, I've
it's
got
not
it.
it's not it's not a bad performance.
No,
It's not. I don't think it's a bad performance. It's just a bad accent. That's it.
yeah, 100%, and absolutely didn't need an accent like that. And if we had an accent,
No.
you need someone who actually has that accent or can portray a very good version of it.
Yeah.
'Cause otherwise, it just becomes comedy caricature villain.
Before we delve straight into other characters and other actors' performances in it, I do want to come sort of circle back very quickly because you did mention it, and I was like, oh, I've got notes on that, and we moved on. I didn't have a chance to say. Do you think? Sorry. Do you think the genre? Do you think the genre of this movie, like you were saying, it reminds you of what you know of what do you say? The Hill.
The Hills of
What
Eyes.
movie did you? Hills of Eyes.
Not the
Right.
movie, the credits set. I've got to be really careful. Not the film, because otherwise people will be going, Forrest, what the fuck
No,
is wrong
that's
with
fair.
you, mate?
You did say that.
The
You did say
credits.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The credits, which is fair play. But I get the sense that it's like a Jason Bourne movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Bond, Jason Bourne.
Bond.
Like any
Bourne,
of those like typical action films. Yeah. 100%.
I don't know whether this was successful or not. I think it did. I think they did a pretty decent job of this, but I got the sense that they were trying to input almost a James Bond espionage esque, let's say, movie into the MCU. But I think they did well in certain elements, and you kind of got that. But I think overall, I think it just fell short with certain things, like the timing and like this. The visual effects was a massive problem in the movie. It wasn't ready, apparently, and this is when we start seeing the quantity over quality start happening. And this was kind of like that first marker and the first kind of like, ooh, superhero burnout is happening now, isn't it? I do remember all of that happening at the same time. But yeah, Jason Bourne, I got massive Jason Bourne vibes.
Yeah. 100%. The you were saying about kind of being at this point in time, there was a lot of Marvel around, right? And there was a lot, and one of the things, that kind of has dawned on me at this point is because we just had Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We've just had, we've had Captain America a while ago. It is like, so in Black Widow, I think I put it. So they put the red vials of synthetic gas, right? Now, for me, it's starting, going back and watching all of these things at the same time, it's starting to wind me up how many vials all appear in MCU all of a sudden. Because we've got super serums, I'm getting very confused as to what is what. Like, it seems to be a copious amounts of gases and, edible, like, liquids in a hell of a lot of vials about. You know what I mean?
So many vials.
DPD or DPD or Royal Mail or whoever delivers your post must be getting fucking well frustrated by this point.
Royal Mail in like Budapest.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Is it Royal Mail? But yeah, we'd just be like, fucking hell. Oh, we've got another vial. Careful, guys.
What colour is it? Is it green? Is it gamma? No. Oh,
Yeah.
that's all right then.
What is it? No, I've got a serum. No. Is it the synthetic gas? No. What is maroon? Oh, maroon. Lovely. What's that? The fucking But yeah,
I agree though. I do agree. I think Marvel have overused the Vile kind of plot line.
yeah,
Like this stuff is like high cargo, high maintenance. You've got to protect this. This could destroy the world.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. I swear, there's been a plot line of that
Yeah,
before somewhere.
Natasha, you've just come back from that other place. It's got super soldier serums as well. Oh yeah, fucking hell! Got 4 of them in my pocket as well. It is mad. It is utter madness. But yeah, I'd quite like at this point for there to be, I don't know, just any other means of getting
Any other means? Yeah.
without it being a bomb. But that's a
Make a
very
cake out of it.
make a
Could it
cake.
be in a cake?
Could be in a cake. It could be
Bake it.
bake it. Yeah, bake it. That'd be
Could be
cool.
bacon.
You know, Nick Fury whipping up some cookies, and he's like, "You never guess
Yeah.
what's inside this. Watch this,"
Exactly.
and just turn into a full ride, malt. I don't know, like a skin ridden metal shaped beast.
So, K Dog, hello K Dog, calling in K Dog. Just so you know, we're done with the vials. All right, we are pitching to you, Disney, K Dog, that from now on, if you want to put in strange substances and strange liquids, just bake them instead.
And
Make it into a cookie.
And K Dog, I'd be up for tasting some of these baked goods. If you've got to make a couple of demos that are friendly for human consumption, get me in. Get me in. I can.
K Dog, picture this: super soldier brownie.
No, Super Soldier shortbread. That's what
Oh
you need.
Jesus, that's even better. That's
Super
even better.
Soldier shortbread. I am totally down for this.
Super soldier shortbread.
Oh, lovely.
Oh.
Synthetic
Granola,
sauce.
gamma granola. Synthetic sauce. Gamma granola.
You imagine? Oh, there he is, Hulk, tasting his granola. Oh, Christ. Look at him go.
Someone needs to design all of this. Come on, there needs to be a Marvel bakery out there. Come on, there must be.
That's got to be. That's what we're making. Don't Be a Hero podcast next venture is the Marvel bakery.
That's it. We'll announce that next year on our 2nd year anniversary.
Bruce's Bakes. Hulk up with our baked goods.
Oh god, I nearly died. Oh god.
Anyway, we digress. Is there?
Wow.
What about? So, anything more about the kind of story? So, what do you think about the story of it?
Okay, so it starts off early. We see Natasha's past. It's kind of like a model family. It's not a real family, but they don't know that as kids. They're actually Russian agents. Now, this is something that actually has happened quite a bit in America, where it's come out in the news. I think I read it in an article. I always go to New Rock Stars as well as a YouTubers, and also they have articles and a brilliant nerdy website. They always go to and they have brilliant Easter eggs, and one of which was kind of reminiscent to a lot of things happening at the time post-COVID. Some of these Russian families that were Russian agents that were actually being absconded and being found out and then having to be deported back to Russia, and some imprisoned and some actually getting away. The tone there is nice. I think it's exciting. I like that beginning bit where they rush away, they're trying to get into the plane. All of that moment is really nice, and then we just see the plot kind of playing out quite quickly. I get quite a bit emotional when they got split up. Whereas it's Dragunov, isn't it?
Yeah.
When he takes the girls away and stuff, and that's where it starts with the credits and stuff, and it is, it's quite harrowing when you think about it. But like, I think the plot as a whole, when we go then back into the present or the past, let's say, because we're technically beyond it by this point. But 2016, Natasha, we meet her sister. We've got her trying to, release all the Black Widows out there. That's her purpose. That's been her purpose throughout the whole movie. Breaking through Red Guardian, because we need him to help us, bringing the family back together for one single purpose of bringing down Dragunov. Great, fine. it makes sense, right? It's like The Incredibles, but Marvel.
Yeah.
It's like a dysfunctional The Incredibles, and it makes sense on paper as a movie. It's all there. I think it's not pacing. It's not action sequences. It's I don't know. I don't know. There is something that I just find a little bit lethargic within the story. It's a little bit drawn. Maybe it's drawn out too long, or
Yeah.
not long enough. I can't really put my finger on it. I do. There was one plot line that I. It's not like I didn't like. It's just that I thought they could have done that with somebody else. Now they used Taskmaster as a villain,
Yeah.
and they introduced Taskmaster as well. Now I consider Taskmaster to be a fairly recognisable Marvel villain, and someone I thought they probably could have done and stuck to the true roots of Taskmaster. Now I'm not worried at all that it's Antonia, not Anthony, but it's more of the traditional costume that I probably would have liked to have seen more, and just a kind of a more kind of threatening vibe to Taskmaster. Taskmaster is way more vocal. They're able to talk and talk about how they can learn off of each other people's. And I think the original comics, they don't have a chip in their neck. They just learn it. They learn how these other people's fight and how they move, and then that's how they become so good. They're just incredibly intelligent, right? I would have liked to have seen that a little bit more. I think that's probably it.
I think with Taskmaster as well, and I don't know the comics of Taskmaster. I don't know what the original villain was, but my other gripe with Taskmaster in this would be to say that it is very, very similar to Bucky Barnes. Coming out of the other side of Bucky Barnes, it's the same thing, and this is what I'm going to make. It's super serums, and it's a super soldier, isn't it, in its own right? So I'm a bit. It all feels very like we've just seen this about 50 times already. That's all what
That's
Captain
a really fair
America
point. Maybe it
was
was
about.
destined to fail. Maybe it was destined to fail.
It
because
needed
of
something
Bucky.
completely different, right? And at this point, bearing in mind, so what where are we? Where are we in terms of had Endgame? We started Phase 4. We've had series
Falcon Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier,
Loki.
So because even Loki, although it's off Earth, it is very grounded in humans, right? There's a lot of humans, isn't it, in it? Or it's a Loki So for me, at this point, you needed something that was kind of more, I don't know, alien or mutant. Something completely away from fucking spies and soldiers, and which is everything we've just had with Captain America and we've just had with Falcon. So that's my only gripe about where its placement was, is that its themes are naturally what we've just had for ages. So we need something else. You either need someone to fill in the gap for Iron Man, where you need some kind of scientist
Tech.
bring tech based for it.
There is a little Easter egg with Taskmaster and Iron Man, where Taskmaster, you can see where I think when she first fights Natasha, you can see that her screen is calibrating to her next move. And in Civil War, we see Iron Man's outfit do exactly the same thing. When Cap is having a fight with Iron Man is deciphering what Cap's going to do next. It's in that big fight at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So there are kind of like technological links, but not so much as it is an Iron Man-esque.
You're not following that as a story, are you? It's just shown a couple of times.
No.
So I think that would be my only thing, is that, and I wonder whether that's less so now because we're obviously watching this at the same time, in tandem with the actual where we're at with Guardians 3. So I think if I go back 2 years ago where I watched this for the first time, I can imagine I probably thought similar then, where I went, Christ, we've we've had endless super soldiers of some variety, and that's what this feels like, is that he's doing it with all of the women in the world. He's making them super soldiers. So I'm like, we've just had this plot, so it's very
Yeah, it's true. Nothing is brand new in its formulas. Let's say in the MCU Marvel formulas that we now know, it's like this is a jumbled up kind of like, let's take a bit of that, let's take a bit of that, we'll take a bit of this, we'll pull it into the, and we can all very see that's very deliberately made, and it's very kind of like manufactured in that way. Nothing really is organic about this movie. There's nothing really fresh or new. It's them just trying to rehash certain plot lines into different stories, or capturing an espionage Jason Bourne maybe type new franchise that didn't really hit. But I feel like maybe that's a harsh critique, let's say. But not to say there weren't good moments. There were good moments.
I feel also the bit that was unique and different arguably happened in the first 2 minutes of the film before the credits, and then after the credits, once they grow up, we go back to the normal. So actually, what would have been great is to have, maybe they didn't get taken at such a young age, maybe. So maybe it was a bit late, they were a little bit older, because then you could have followed teenage Elena, teenage Natasha, before they then get split, because then that first bit could have been a bit longer. So you keep the most unique part of the film was the fact that their parents weren't their parents, their whole family unit wasn't their family unit. So to be able to follow that for a little bit longer, and for us to see certain moments that could have been brought back as a flashback later on, I think would have been far more interesting than what they decided to use the film to focus on.
100%. I kind of feel like certain bits of plot which felt should have been really important weren't that clear. Like, for instance, I'm still not sure. Was the Red Room created by Shield? Because at that time, Shield was controlled by Hydra.
Yeah.
Is that how the Red Room came to be? Because it was a manufactured, like, coming off the Super Soldier program. They wanted a Russian equivalent, effectively. So Shield provided that. Did they? I don't know. I still can't tell.
That was
in the first act.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Shield doesn't get a lot of mentions either. Like all we keep going on about is Natasha and the Avengers, and the fact that the Avengers are split up. What we don't get is an understanding of Shield's part in this, and like you say, that kind of Hydra's contribution to Shield and why that resulted in what happened.
And they really could have, because it's set in 1995, so this is happening around the same time as the first Captain Marvel movie that we have seen, which was in Phase 3, and that's very much heavily surrounded around the resurgence of the Shield, and Captain Marvel being within that as well. Nick Fury being engaged as an agent as well at this kind of decade. There could have been opportunities for them to even remotely talk about, this flying superhero female that's flying through the sky, or Nick Fury having a cameo. I don't know. There could have been opportunities there, I think.
Yeah, I think you could have got that through Red Guardian as well. I think he would have been, David Harbour's character would have been a good connection there, I feel.
Yeah.
Would have been the reason why we might learn those things.
Speaking of Red Guardian, though, I think the sequence, in terms of like favourite sequences for me, the snow sequence, the escape of the prison bit, with the locality, the way that it was shot, the cinematography around that. I thought the way it was all played and all whether it was done was actually really great. I'm always reminded, and it's because he's just made it iconic. David Harbour famously plays Tom Hopper in Stranger Things, and the moments when he's in prison as Tom Hopper in one of the seasons, it mirrors that, and it's just he's just a bloody great actor. He's just a great actor, and he's so watchable.
Have you seen the newer trilogy of Planet of the Apes?
No, I haven't. Mate, I haven't.
third film, Planet of the Apes. I think it might be the War of the Planet of the Apes is the third one. I think. Don't quote me on that. And there is basically it's set in a prison for monkeys. And there is a scene at the end where there is an avalanche, they're in a prison, they're trying to escape. And literally, this is like, I was watching it like, oh my God, this is so... But in a cool way, right? I don't know if there's any, if with the writer, director, whether there is any kind of, oh yeah, we're a massive fan of those films, so we've like used a little bit of it. But there are very big... similarities, even to the helicopter. I don't mean there's not a helicopter as such, War of the Planet of the Apes, but the way they get away, they have to get to the top of it. But I encourage you, Matt. You got to go and watch that third film, and have a look at those scenes, and you'll see the kind of similarities. Very interesting.
That's cool. I need to watch it. Now because it's made me want to.
Those three films are some of the best all-time best films. I feel like maybe we need to do a wild card and watch those. That is one of the few set of films that I go back and watch regularly.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Planet of the Apes, those kind of movies, it's much like the recent Transformers movies. They just eluded me completely. Eluded me. So yeah, I'd be well up for that, mate.
Definitely got to do that.
Yeah. Can we talk about cast members now? Can we talk?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
I feel like we're doing it already.
Let's go.
I think, in terms of cast, I think this cast is super strong, like super strong. You got Rachel Weisz, you've got David Harbour, you've got Scarlett Johansson, you've got Florence Pugh, you've even got, God, his name just went straight out of my head. Julia Loris is in it in terms of a end credit sequence, but OT.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Handmaid's Tale. OT.
He's amazing.
He's so good. But that I don't get. Are we ever told how him and Natasha actually know each other?
No.
That frustrates me.
Yeah.
Because he appears from nowhere, and we have no knowledge of what that is.
He's such a good actor.
He's a very good actor. He's a brilliant actor. I do think he plays quite a similar character sometimes, though. But
yeah, there's similarities, I'd say. That's a good argument.
It's normally the happy chap. I know this is ironic, bearing in mind Handmaid's Tale is definitely not a happy chappy, but he does play the happy chappy. But he does play the drama of it well as well, so I can't argue with that.
So I think in terms of standout performances for me in this film, is got to be Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yelena is
without a doubt
brilliant, just brilliant. It sets a new tone. It's kind of like a youthful Natasha, isn't it? It's just a more jovial, kind of like Batman Robin kind of relationship in a way, a little bit. It's just funny. The moments where I really enjoy the moments where she imitates her superhero pose in the middle of the shop. Like it's stuff, little bits of quirkiness like that it's very Florence Pugh. Do you know what I mean? It's very her. And that's what happens when you allow an actress to do what they're really good at doing. Yes. Brie Larson, when she was first playing Captain Marvel, was not allowed to do the quirky and cool things that she does really well. Yep. And that's why it happened the way it happened in terms of the initial kind of release with that movie, in terms of their depiction of Captain Marvel. But with Yelena, we immediately are falling in love with this character. We're immediately finding a connection with this character because it's jovial. There's enough of a story. There's enough of a reason for us to understand why they're in the situation that they're in, why they're in the story that they're in. Yeah. And yet she absolutely nails it, mate. She nails it every scene, every moment. Brilliant.
Accent, superb.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Brilliant. I 100% agree. I think this is probably one of Florence Pugh's strongest parts I think she's ever played. I think it is fantastic. She is, like I say, perfect level of comedy there. And and it's great. I feel her Florence and Scarlett really bounce off each other really well.
Yeah, they do.
So yeah, no, I absolutely couldn't fault them. What do you think of Rachel as
Rachel
Melina?
Weisz, classic. I mean, oh my gosh, right. So Rachel Weisz first came into my radar in the original Mummy movies,
Yes.
and I do remember being like, oh my god, who is she? She's amazing, and she is like this kind of adventure woman. You know, it's she she was alongside like Angelina Jolie for me when I was growing up in terms of like playing Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, seeing these strong, powerful women. She was playing a real brilliant protagonist, female protagonist in the Mummy movies, and she nailed it there. And kind of that's how she made her fortune. That's how she got her acclaim as an actress. And I think that pays dividends in terms of the reason why she's in this movie as well. I think she has really good moments. I don't think that was enough. I think I would have liked to have got a little bit more. They kind of wrote her out in the second act of the movie, and then brought her back for the ending, effectively the last bit. But yeah, I think she had really good moments. But I think I mean David Harbour was absolutely incredible for what he got in terms of screen time. I think it doesn't matter what you do with David Harbour, give him a good character, he's going to nail it. So I think they all brought each other up. But overall, Florence Pugh, hands down.
I think my only gripe about Melina, and it's more, I don't know if it's writing or acting or whatever, but is I felt that Red Guardian was really clear about where he stood in regards to the fact that he wasn't actually Yelena and Natasha's dad. I felt that Melina, and I don't know if this is Rachel's acting of it, where she tried to play it both ways at the same time. So she tried to play that she's not a real mum, but actually she's incredibly maternal, but also that she works as a spy and, you know, this is what she does for a job. And I felt that actually she tried to sit on the fence between the two, which didn't really work for me as a character. I'd have preferred if she was just openly maternal and actually all along it was Alexei. Is it Alexei? Alexei is Red Guardian's
Alexei, yeah.
Alexei.
Alexei, isn't it?
Alexei, yeah. Who was like fully on board with the kind of the fact that it was a job. I would have preferred it basically if Melina had got carried away over the years and it became less of a job and more of a I'm actually your mum. Whereas they didn't do that, and I feel like they missed the trick there. If they'd have just gone openly with that, then Melina's character would have felt more strong, I think. Because then what you would have done is you throughout the film, you know, she would have been like really challenging Alexei, and then Alexei would have been like, look, we were there to do one job, blah blah blah, lots of scenes like that. Because then in the third act, once she's back and she's purely there to help all three of them escape the Red Room and finally kill Dreykov, I think that actually that would have worked, because she would have been like, right, I've been maternal all this time, but actually I need to focus on the thing that I was here to do, which was, you know.
Do you think we should have got some Clint moments?
No.
I know we get it as an end credit sequence with DeFontaine turning up with Yelena and saying this is your next target. He's the reason for her death. But do you think there should have been some sort of, I don't know, I mean like a flashback from that point, or is it too much of a flashback as a movie to do that kind of thing?
Probably, too much. And also the focus needs to be on Natasha Romanoff, right? That she is the Avenger we're following. I think if you added another one, then naturally it doesn't become her movie, you know.
Yeah.
For the reason, like, because they very specifically said this was to follow a female Avenger and make this a film that's, you know, that girls can go, I've got my place in Marvel, you know. It's not just ran with loads of blokes playing the lead parts and a woman doesn't have a chance. I think this is their chance to go, that's not the case. So actually, not having Clint or not having Bruce or whoever it might be was the best decision to make in my view.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think there's one there's one gripe. I say it's not a gripe. It's just a meme now. I think in terms of the end of the movie, in terms of demonstrating the poor visual effects of Black Widow. Now, I think we need to take this with a pinch of salt, dear listener. If you're seeing the moment where Yelena goes at the end of the movie, she says, "This was fun," and then she jumps off the end of the hangar, and it's just really poor bit of visual effects where the explosion happens in front of her, and she gets propelled off the building. It, I think yes, it's not very good, but I think on the whole there were bad moments for visual effects, unfinished moments, but it wasn't throughout. Okay, there were moments. I think there was one moment in the beginning of the movie where, and it's you have to really focus and look at it to see it. But when you see a Red Guardian chuck over, it's like a really heavy armored vehicle in order to free the airways for the plane, the runway, you can see what happens is the weight, the distribution of this tank doesn't just kind of clunk over and fly over. It goes up and then it just drops with a weight, with such heaviness, and you don't see it bounce. That's a visual effect. And that was done really convincingly. That thing wasn't there when he did that, right? Yeah. And so there were little moments of visual effects where I thought it was great, but there were very clear unfinished moments, and I think in terms of a gripe, I think it's worth mentioning because it's so famously now etched in social media. But I would just say, just take that with a pinch of salt. I don't think that really is a massive detriment to the movie.
No,
I think it's harsh.
Absolutely not. And I think, yeah, I absolutely don't think it's detrimental. I mean, there's shitloads going on in the third act of this movie, and there's a lot of fire and a lot of the places like crashing and burning, and I just feel like ultimately that's not really what we're focusing on as an audience. Is that I think it has got a really good, strong story to it, yeah, I'm not, I unless it's really bad. I think even so far on us going way back and going all the way through it, I don't think we've hit anything really, really bad yet in terms of. I think only one
it's
moment.
It's not 2003 like Hulk. Do you know what I mean? That's bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was one moment in something we've watched, but I can't remember what that is. And I think for me, actually, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, there was a particular bit I seem to remember that was god awful in terms of CGI. But yeah, this certainly weren't it. It was fine. She, she's jumping off a bloody. The whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. The helicopter's set alight, and we're supposed to believe she survived it. So. Hardly the least realistic part of that scene, I'd say.
I think it completes Black Widow's story. Albeit I am of the opinion that it should have come earlier, but I understand why it didn't. But I think this is also a really good origin movie for Yelena, introduction to a new hero, a follow-on to effectively a new Black Widow. I think that we're getting there, we're getting to that point. I think now moving forward into the MCU. And yeah, I think it serves and holds up as an MCU movie. Yes, it's not great. It made, I think, around about $600 million of a loss because what they also used with this movie was a guinea pig to see what would happen if we would only do a couple of weeks of it being out in the cinema, and then we'll do it straight onto a home premiere release on Disney Plus, so people can just watch it. And there was a huge piracy thing, huge lawsuit. Scarlett Johansson lost a huge load of money as well through this kind of movie, and that was a detriment, unfortunately, to what I thought overall as the product of Black Widow was not too bad. It wasn't great, it wasn't ridiculously amazing, but it wasn't awful. It wasn't bad. Yeah.
How much of a crisp packet you giving this?
I'm gonna give this like just over a half. It's like a decent weighty packet of like those M&S crisps that you get.
Yeah.
Marks and Spencer's, dear listener, by the way. Any international listeners, what the frick, listeners? They're like a fairly decent food produce shop for us, and they do good quantity of crisps. Have you had those ready salted like mixed bags?
No.
I usually get them. Okay, this is so irrelevant. What I usually do is when I travel up north to work, I come back from the north and I get those in a service station in M&S, and I usually munch on them when I'm in the car and I'm driving. Yeah, that's me. So yeah, just over half of those.
I would give this. I think I'm gonna be really really strong here. 'Cause I enjoy it. I'm giving this 85%, mate. A huge amount because I thoroughly enjoy this film,
Mate, that is generous.
And I think a lot of people are misguided when it comes to this movie. I think it's great. There are some very good scenes between the likes of Yelena, Natasha, Red Guardian, and Yelena is a particular highlight. I absolutely loved when he starts singing the song and American Pie, and there are some really good moments. Which, those moments are in a film with shitloads of action. I mean, what more could you possibly want? It's got lovely, really good comedy. None of it's cheesy. There is no cheesy comedy. It genuinely is quite funny. You've got loads of escaping from prison, massive action-packed scenes. You've got a weighty villain who feels like he is a bastard, and the reasons for doing it are clear. What he's the links to Shield needed to be more clearer. His accent needs to be abolished from day one. But actually, I thoroughly enjoy myself. I love it.
Fair enough.
No.
I'm not gonna argue that.
No, but
That's the one thing we cannot do on this podcast is argue our crisp content rating.
Rating. What I do want to quickly do, let me have a look, is we did ask on our Instagram, on our little feed, what people's thoughts were. So let's have a read. So the Fan Club podcast, they said, I like this movie, but I would have liked it much more if it was released much earlier. Very weird timing. I love Elena though.
There we go.
There you go. Hugh V302, even though the villains weren't that great, I really like the film overall, and I especially love Yelena. Can't wait to see more of her going forwards.
There we go. I think it's a dark horse. It's a dark horse, this movie.
Your Rach loves it?
Yeah, she loves it. She absolutely loves it. She was a bit annoyed that she didn't get to watch it with me.
Oh no. Well, yeah, and we have one more as well. Loved the family drama in this, but did not enjoy the story or villain all that much, says Before Showtime podcast.
Oh, fair enough. Thank you very much for your comments there, guys. I know you said at the year anniversary podcast, if you didn't catch it, dear listener, you still can catch it on all networking streams. But what we can do...
Yeah. Streaming networks, but
streaming networks. Oh fucking hell! Jesus Christ! It's 9:30 at night.
The last 5 pods, mate. Your ability to talk is.
It's just been stressful, mate. It's just been stressful.
Yeah, carry on,
Stress City. I got a poem.
Oh, hit me up, Buttercup. Can't wait.
Want a little poem. Okay, here we go. So yeah, Forrest declared that he wants some fan fiction back, so I'm on fanfiction.net right now, dear listener.
Come on.
Okay. So I've got it's short, it's sweet, I think it's to the point, so I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. Okay, so this is by I'm trying to find their name and it's not even there, by Romanov's Radioactive Revenge. Okay.
Wow, we were.
Chill out. Okay, here we go. Blood. Lies. My voice broke there. Anarchy. Cold. Knives. Whispers. Imprisonment. Death. Obedience. When does it end? What does that spell?
Wow.
What does it spell?
I don't know, because I was just so shocked that it was just loads of words. Say it again.
God, I'll say it
Hit
again.
me up, hit me up.
Blood. Lies. Anarchy. Cold. Knives. Whispers. Imprisonment. Death. Obedience. When does it end? And scene.
Black Widow. Lovely.
Yes, that's it.
Absolutely lovely stuff there, Matt.
Thank you so much.
That's gorgeous. Really brought tears to my eyes.
Great. I'm glad you're moved.
Especially Knives and Cold. That is. There are some. Yeah, lovely.
I like the when does it end at the end. Like it's like when does it end? I don't know.
And
when does it end?
When does what end? The
when
film
does what end
itself? Or
exactly? Or the MCU? Are they tired from superhero films? I don't know. When does it? I don't know. It leaves it very open.
Doesn't end is this podcast, mate. Because next week, we are doing. I can't fucking wait. I've been waiting for this since we started because you keep going on about it. You teased it as if it was coming in phase 2, and it's not been here till now. Do you know what it is coming up next week?
What is it?
TV series that I haven't seen that you keep going on about, and I got very excited about.
Oh, what? And I know you're about to announce something that's next week, and it's not going to be next week because we've got to do another episode before then.
Oh yes. Oh fucking hell!
I'm just disappointed.
Honestly,
you.
Next week's news and rumours. I keep forgetting that happens at the end of each month.
I was like, why is he so excited by that? Fair enough.
News and rumours. No, we've got the each episode's different. What if?
So what if next?
It is what if. I can't wait, man.
Oh mate, that is going to be great.
Keep showing up on my Disney Plus. I'm like, no, not yet. I've got to wait. I can't fucking wait.
Brilliant. Oh, that's great. That's great. So, but yeah, that's in 2 weeks' time. That will be
next week. News and rumours. Big one.
Awesome. Well, dear listener, thank you so much for listening. Just so you know, we now do have a Patreon. We have a merch store as well. And we are currently in the place of working out the kinks. We're sort of looking at stuff to see if it's working. And it is working. But there's little kinks that we just need to do still. But yeah, it is up. It is going. It's ready. It's there for you. Do check it out. Sign up to our Patreon. Buy yourself a flipping hat. Because I got myself a little hat. Hasn't arrived yet. But it's coming.
We hope it's going to be there sometime.
So do I. They've taken my money.
Oh, there we go.
We'll find out. Let me be the guinea pig, please, dear listener, and I'll let you know how it goes on. Yeah. But yes, we've got all that stuff going on. We've also got some new artwork as well, haven't we, mate?
We have. Michael Russian, our good friend, has made us loads of new gizmos. So on social media, you'll see some flashy banners, some nice little pics. We've got some background art now that we can populate. Very excited. Very nice.
Yeah, we do. Right, dear listener, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate the hell out of you, and we will see you next week.
See you.